everybody, shalom. Welcome to the Land of Israel Fellowship. I hope you're having a beautiful summer. We have 2 weeks now that are a beautiful time. It's after the 9th of Av. The summer's out, school is out, and it's this little window of time that we have to really complete what we've started as we enter in to Elul. And these last 2 sessions, we're going to complete the first floor in our building that we're constructing together. And after these 2 weeks, we will have completed the first chapter of our story. The foundations of our virtual house of prayer for all nations will be done. It's like literally through the Hebrew language itself, we've created a unifying language for our fellowship. That is so huge. And after these 2 weeks, we will have solidified this new reality, and our core group will forever be the founders of this fellowship. And we should take great pride in creating something that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, something that represents the unity and love that the Bible guides us to live by, a fellowship that saw biblical prophecy of the restoration of Israel in the nations and wanted to manifest that vision in their lives. The Torah from the heart of Israel in Judea would go forth to righteous believers around the world. And now we're going to take the fellowship up to a whole new level, getting ready for the biblical feasts together. Now, look at this prophecy from the book of Isaiah. This is something really beautiful. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. It's of the most famous messianic prophecies in the Tanakh. Now it shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountain, and shall be exalted above all the hills, and all nations shall stream to it. Many peoples will come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob. He will teach us of his ways, so that we may walk in his paths. The Torah will go forth out from Zion, and the word of God from Judah. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. Now look at this. All nations shall stream to it. I never realized that the nations would be streaming live on Zoom, connecting to the Torah from Zion. Like, wow, who would have ever considered such a concept that the nations streaming to Israel would have just been virtually? And I want to give credit to my one of the fellows here, Ari from Dallas, who pointed that beautiful prophecy out. He's like, streaming, the nations are going to be streaming into Jerusalem. And here they are doing that. And so in 2 weeks, we're going to start the month of Elul, and the nations will come and stream in. And it's the last month of the Hebrew year. And we're going to enter together into the biblical rhythm of time. And through these sessions, learning together, prepare ourselves for the holiday together. And ultimately, these holidays will shape the rest of our year. And there's a famous prophecy in the book of Zechariah in chapter 14 that talks about the nations coming up to Jerusalem to celebrate the biblical feasts. And it shall come to pass that everyone who is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the festival. Friends, can you imagine that there is a fellowship now based in the land of Israel, made up of Jews and non-Jewish believers from all around the world, representing already 28 countries that will be working on, learning towards, and preparing for the day that whoever lives outside of Israel will come together with Israel and celebrate the biblical feasts in Jerusalem. I mean, in the midst of the chaos of this world, we are absolutely pioneering away, somehow raising our heads a little bit higher than the coronavirus and the current events around us, and just keeping our eyes on Zion, towards our target, towards our destiny, toward the kingdom that will shine blessing and healing onto the world. And in that effort, we're actually opening up the gates of blessing into our own lives, that we finally had the chance to participate in this marvelous process. I mean, I'm 40 years old now, and in my entire life, I have never been so excited to prepare for the holidays as I am this year. I mean, it's 28 countries, hundreds of families in this fellowship. I mean, it's somehow We've been called on this mission together, and no one has ever done this before. And we're going to be preparing, learning, I'm sure, new dimensions and meanings of the holidays that are going to transform the biblical feast from what could be maybe just ritual or culture into a deep, universally meaningful, spirit-filled time. And it was ultimately, we're creating a pathway towards living the festivals the way they were always intended to be celebrated, with the Jewish people inviting believers around the world to come and celebrate in Jerusalem together with us.